My favourite time of the week, I'm sure it's yours too, is when we talk to Megyn Kelly, host of the Megyn Kelly Show in the United States. 2 weeks to go. Now, I thought Kamala was all about joy and vibes, but the actual closing message is more like Biden in a pantsuit. Basically, Trump is evil, Trump is awful, and she's taking out on the road Dick Cheney's daughter. This doesn't look like the team that's winning, does it?
Yes, of course, it's all turned. Forget the joy. Now it's all negative about Trump. And parading Liz Cheney out there, they really want to get the Liz Cheney Republicans. Well, you did. Liz Cheney and her dad, Dick Cheney. Those are the Liz Cheney Republicans. The list does not go on past those two. So you can parade Liz Cheney around all you want to all these, road stops and rallies. They're convincing no one. That's not persuasive. So then her other goal is reportedly to get Nikki Haley Republicans, to get those, say, 20% in the primaries who voted for Nikki Haley and did not vote for Trump. Those people do not loathe Trump when it's a Trump-Kamala Harris race. They preferred a more neocon version of conservatism, and they might have preferred someone who was less dramatic and controversial than Trump. But that does not bring you as a Republican into Kamala Harris territory. They're just pretending that it does. The problem for them is there's no more Democratic base to stimulate. The men have fled. All they're left with is effete men who don't mind being cast as beta, asparagus, kale-eating Barack Obama types. And all the alphas have left for the Republican Party because they've been shamed for the fact that they are men, never mind white men who might actually have jobs and be traditional and want to get married. So they've fled the party, and now they're trying to run those numbers up with the women, but there's only so far those numbers can go. Not all women are lefties. There are many women who are more conservative. They're going to vote Trump, and so they've hit this wall. They can't get black men. They can't get Hispanic men. So they're circling the wagons, doing whatever they can, but it's literally down to like Liz Cheney and Nikki Haley Republicans, which is a either very small or non-gettable pool for her.
Now, a bit of a theme in tonight's show is not to be defeatist, but to explain when two things can happen. Two things can happen, meaning, yes, despite the fact that it all looks like it's going Trump's way, and we'd all like it to go Trump's way, those of us that are having this conversation or watching us on the telly, reality is we could wake up and Harris ends up winning. So let's have the chat before that might happen. What can you see that maybe isn't as obvious to everyone else if she does win about how she's winning?
No, it's a good question because you don't want to be surprised, and we could be because it's so tight. Notwithstanding the fact that Trump's leading in all those polls, it's by a little. It's tight. Yeah, I'll tell you what I think it is. First of all the people I talk to who are on the ground trying to get people out to vote on Team Trump and are, really running herd on that in several states are telling me the same thing, 50-50. It's 50-50. We need everyone to get out, everyone. So they're not breathing a sigh of relief at all. No one's getting back to me with, he's running away with it. And even I've talked to top pollsters who are more on the inside than they are the out, who say the same thing. They don't say he's losing. They don't say he's going to lose. They say it couldn't be any tighter. And they're, nervous, not because they think he's going to lose, but because it's too tight for comfort. So that's one thing. Secondly, there is a real question about whether they did fix the polls. They overpolled Dems back in 2016. That's why we had these huge margins for Hillary Clinton when we all found out later Trump won, because they were oversampling Dems, and in particular, oversampling college-educated Dems, which is entirely a Dem group, right? Demo. Those are not Trump's fans or his voters. So then they thought they fixed it in 2020, but, those polls were wrong, too. They had Joe Biden way up. I mean, Joe Biden did not win by those margins I just read to you, 7.8, 7.5. It was tight. It was very tight. As you know, he won by about 40,000 votes in the swing states. So they may have done a little better, but they weren't fixed. And then they said, well, yeah, by 2022, they had removed the over-inclusion of Dem-inclined voters. And that's why we had a predicted red wave that never materialized, because they fixed the polls by 2022 to factor in more Republican voters. But we can't rely on that because Trump was not on the ballot. And Trump, as the world knows, is a very unique force. And Trump without A ballot without Trump is an entirely different animal than a ballot with Trump. So that's one of the things that makes this whole thing unsteady and unknowable. Like, we're going to find out on the week of November 5th whether they really have fixed the polls this time or if they've overcorrected the polls this time. And having said all that, let me give you one other fact. The one poll that they said was the most accurate poll of 2020, the most accurate poll of 2020 is Atlas Intel. And they just released their latest poll. And it shows Trump with a 2.7 percentage point lead over Harris on national level. That's 0.7 percentage points outside their margin of error, which is 2. And when you add in the full field, like a third-party candidates, it's Trump up 3.4 percentage points. And it has Trump with a 9-point lead over independents, over Kamala Harris when it comes to independents. It also has Trump up 1.2 percentage point in Michigan, up 3 in Pennsylvania, up 2 in Georgia, up 0.6 in Arizona, up 0.3 in Nevada, and it has Harris up 2 and 1 in North Carolina and Wisconsin, respectively. So that's Trump leading in 5, let me say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 7 swing states. That's very good news for Trump. That's the most accurate poll last time around. So look, it could go either way, Paul, and get out the vote efforts are going to have so much to do. They're saying the get out the vote effort could be worth 3 points to her. Well, if he's up 3.4 and the margin of error is 2, you can subtract 2 from that. So maybe he's up 1.4 and get out the vote is worth 3 for her on election day. Yeah, this could still go her way, and it could go her way not easily, but kind of big time if you add on 3 percentage points to all of those swing states.
Now, let's get back to our favourite subject, which is how ridiculous the media is. They are so humorless that they can't laugh at the Arnold Palmer shower joke. They don't even have the ability to understand why the McDonald's thing with Trump was so awesome. They have lost the plot.
The McDonald's thing was gold. It was as gold as those golden arches. Look, they all do campaign stops like this. This is not a Trump invention. It was just a very clever choice and perfectly timed, and has the added benefit of being a zinger to her because she claimed that she worked there for a stint, and her story's been all over the board on it. You know, she originally claimed she worked there while a student to help put herself through school, and then the Free Beacon disproved that. She did not need help being put through school, notwithstanding her middle-class background. Her mother put her through school just fine. She was a PhD at one of the most elite universities in the country. They had plenty of money for college, and she had to change her story. As she hasn't been able to say exactly which branch she worked at, like which specific McDonald's. She's never been asked to really describe it and so on. So there are some questions around this, which the Free Beacon's been doing a great job reporting on. So it's got all of those great things built into it. Trump goes in there, doesn't change a thing about himself. He wears his French cuff shirts with his cufflinks, his suit pants, and his suspenders. He's Donald Trump. Let's go. And starts serving up the fries, making conversation, mocks Kamala. It's, exactly what you would expect of Trump. Cue the media meltdown that calls this burgerism compared to Trump's birtherism, because they say he falsely claimed she didn't work at McDonald's with no evidence. He claimed she didn't work at McDonald's. Same as he falsely claimed Barack Obama wasn't born in the United States when he was running for president the first time. So it's burgerism now. Then you have Newsweek come out and point out that this McDonald's was cited for uncleanliness in the past. This is a dirty McDonald's. Of course, what other kind of McDonald's would have Donald Trump? You've got another headline out today talking about how this was not sanctioned by corporate McDonald's. And Trump didn't have specific permission to serve fries, but he did it anyway. Paul, these are actual journalists who spent time figuring out, did you say he could do the fries? Was that from corporate? Did corporate know he was? Like, would you please get a life? The man went into the McDonald's. The franchise owner said it was fine. We all had a laugh. And now we're laughing at you because you're such pathetic people. And the reason they went in a full meltdown over this is because that's how effective it was. Even they could see this is dangerous. He's charming. Americans will love it, and it makes her look terrible.
Now, be it by accident, luck, or strategy, Trump is doing the perfect thing to counterbalance to this darkness that's being presented in the closing arguments. He literally is smiling while handing out fast food. He's paying for people's groceries. He's going to the football. He's laughing. He's doing podcasts with wrestlers. He's doing town halls with voters. This does not look like the man who is about to be the second coming of the devil.
You're exactly right, because I think his internal polls are showing him something that we haven't seen. They're always ahead of the public polling by a few days and sometimes longer. And I think Trump has a very good instinct. I think Trump thinks he's going to win. And I mean, at this point, you can see why he thinks that. And just look at the way the campaigns are running. You can kind of tell which one thinks it's winning and which one thinks it's losing. Right now, Trump is having fun. He's out there doing the McDonald's, slinging the fries, making nice with the passersby, going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, being welcomed like hero, cracking the, R-rated jokes about the size of Arnold Palmer's, you know what? I think he was trying to pay him a compliment. He was trying to pay him a compliment. And Kamala Harris is out there increasing the level of anger in her delivery, lying about Trump, trying to say he said he'd sick the American military on people who don't vote for him. Total lie. That's not what he said at all. And she keeps running with it, changing her entire strategy, going from the basement campaign where she talks to no one to going on Fox News, doing a CNN on town hall on CNN, going on NBC News, which happens tomorrow. She's in a mad dash to do something that will change the trajectory. She's got everyone out there. Now Doug Emhoff is everywhere. Tim Walz is everywhere. You can tell, given the levels of anger that are permeating and the change in strategy, which campaign is flailing and which campaign feels it's right on course. And let's not forget, Trump's done this before. He's done this before twice. So he's got some experience to draw on. And I just think the country is in a good mood when it comes to him, his name, and his affect. And her world media tour has made them take, if they took a first look, a hard second look, and it didn't go well.
We love you, Megyn. Her show, The Megyn Kelly Show, can be heard live on SiriusXM, on podcast, or, of course, on YouTube. We'll see you next week.
Oh, always a pleasure, Paul. See you next week.